Mason Thames is back to face down Ethan Hawke in Black Phone 2, and making the film came with something of a surreal realization for the young star. The horror film acts as a sequel to Scott Derrickson and C. Robert Cargill's 2021 adaptation of Joe Hill's novel, picking up 4 years after its events, in which Thames' Finney Blake successfully killed Hawks the Grabber and came home to his psychic-inclined sister and remorseful father. While Finney struggles to process the trauma of his near-death experience, his sister Gwen begins having haunting visions of murders at the mountainside retreat of Alpine Lake Camp, which occurred some 20 years in the past. Heading up the mountain to discover the truth with the help of their friend, and Gwen's love interest, Ernesto, they come to realize the killings were carried out by none other than the Grabber, who begins tormenting Gwen in her dreams, and Finney as a ghostly figure. Having hit theaters in time for the Halloween season, Black Phone 2 has garnered largely positive reviews from critics, while also going on to again become a box office hit, grossing nearly $130 million against its $30 million production budget. The film's success has already sparked discussions of a potential Black Phone 3, albeit Derrickson, Cargill and Hill have cautioned it will only move forward if they can find the right story. As the movie arrives on digital platforms and VOD, Screen Rant interviewed Mason Thames to discuss Black Phone 2. The star opened up about how the movie gave him a career-first experience, as well as the acting lessons he's learned in the years since the first that helped his performance going into the sequel, getting more time with Madeleine McGraw and Miguel Mora, and the brutal final act. Thames making his first ever sequel with Black Phone 2 was really surreal. Just prior to leading the 2021 hit film, Thames had kick-started his career with the 2017 short film After O'Malley's and a recurring role in For All Mankind Season 1 as Tracy and Gordo Stevens' child, Daniel. Following the first film's success, the young star saw his career quickly begin to skyrocket, particularly with the leading role of Hiccup in the live-action How to Train Your Dragon adaptation, which all but guaranteed him an ongoing franchise. However, due to the difference of scale in productions between the two properties, Thames' first ever sequel would become Black Phone 2, something he admits he never thought I could be able to do, given making a sequel is not something that a lot of people get to do. He also went on to express that reprising a character is really surreal, getting to step back into their mindset, particularly given he filmed the first movie when he was 13, now being 18 years old at the time of the sequel's release. Reflecting on the journey to bring Finney back to life, including how his experience on other projects has influenced his change in approach to the character. Thames went on to express that he was excited for just everything his character was getting to explore in the film. He did, however, go on to cite 2 scenes in particular as being the ones he was most looking forward to filming when reading the script, as his first tense phone call with the Grabber at the mountainside phone booth, and when Finn and Gwen's dad comes to get the pair. Finney finally talks about how he's feeling. Thames described, "I'm like, there you go man. You need that? You need that and a hug." I think those 2, especially, were a lot of fun. And also the basement, going down there again was fun. Finney getting more time with Gwen and Ernesto is part of what makes the Black Phone work. Universal Pictures. Beyond his dealing with the emotional baggage of his first encounter with the Grabber, another big change to come for Finney in Black Phone 2's story is getting more screen time with Gwen and franchise newcomer Ernesto, played by returning star Miguel Mora after previously playing his character's older brother Robin. The first film's opening act spent a good majority of time building the loving bond between Finney and Gwen, and their troublesome home life, before keeping them almost entirely apart after the Grabber kidnapped him. By comparison, Black Phone 2 never completely separates the pair, with the sole exception being Gwen's nightmare sequences, in which she initially confronts the Grabber and his machinations by herself. This not only gives the siblings a bigger spotlight on one another, but also taps directly into what Thames calls one of the most important parts of the franchise, the heart it has. Even getting to work more with Mora in his recast role proved to be a nice reflection of that same theme for Thames, who describes his co-star as being just a vibe on set, as they get along so well. The star went on to praise Mora for his fantastic work in the completely different character from his original Black Phone role, recalling his awe at watching Mora transform, with his glasses and his stutter, from the confident and outgoing Robin in the first film. A point of humor for Mora's return was that, while Thames was given an early heads-up that Derrickson would be bringing back the fellow young actor for the sequel, he didn't know how that would be the case when reading the Black Phone 2 script. Initially thinking that the horror sequel would see Finney having hallucinations with Robin, it wasn't until he got far into the script that he began to realize what the actual plan was for his co-star's return. Finney and the Grabber's intense final confrontation was crazy for Thames to do with Hawke. Turning back to getting to reunite with Ethan Hawke in the film, beginning with the aforementioned phone booth scene, Thames joked that it was kind of easy not to look at him in having to avoid directly looking at the Grabber. Laughing as he points out, you just don't want to look at him. When wearing the Tom Savini-designed masks, he also denotes that he got kind of used to not looking at the ghost actors in the first movie, making it easier for him to avoid looking directly at Hawk. Even more fun and crazy for Thames was shooting Black Phone 2's blood-soaked ending with Hawk, in which Finney fights the invisible form of the grabber, while also getting his first look at the demonic appearance of the villain. Chuckling as he points out the first movie had the 4-time Oscar nominee with just long hair and the mask, Thames described the icy and practical facial disfigurements under the mask as being pretty scary to look at on set.